all-you-can-eat night, so make sure to bring your appetite. Plus, we're hooking up the fans with exclusive Fan Run swag giveaways you won't want to miss. Come hang with the Fan Run crew, rep your team, and enjoy a summer night of baseball, food, and fun. Fan Run Night, August 6th. Be there.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
The buzzer has sounded. We are headed to overtime with William Patterson on Fox Sports Knoxville. This is Fan Run Radio.
And here we go live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's overtime with William Patterson, Jeremy Inslee, Tyler Barbaras, and Max Pennell. We appreciate you listening along with us on this Tyler Tuesday. You got it right this time, guys. If you were joining us on the slate earlier, I said it was Max Monday. Tyler Tuesday. We appreciate you hanging out with us, however you may be doing it. Plenty to cover over the next hour, including perfect timing. Shedeur Sanders will get his opportunity to start for the Cleveland Browns. Is this a make-it-or-break-it opportunity for him? Before that, we'll talk about dark horse contenders in the college football scheme. As last year, we saw plenty of unranked teams still make it to the college football playoff by using the coaches poll that came out yesterday. Which unranked teams could possibly be those next Arizona States and SMUs this upcoming season? But we'll begin today with our first things first topic, and that is the camp report. As the Knox News Sentinel, Adam Sparks is reporting Tuesday that Tennessee defensive back and punt returner Boo Carter is now a full-fledged participant at football practice after serving what appeared to be a de facto suspension for missing numerous team activities in the summer. On August 5th, Carter was in uniform on the practice field and participating in drills alongside his teammates for periods open to the media. That's quite a change for Carter. And the first 4 practices of preseason, he had been excluded from those drills, as Sparks writes. And instead of instead of working out with the rest of the team, he was left to work out on the side of the field or in the indoor training facility. Now, Carter is a preseason All-SEC selection, had a very productive end to the year last year for the Volunteers, as well as a very dynamic punt returner. And this year we're going to see some of it offensively as well. Carter missed numerous team activities in the summer. We obviously know about this Boo Carter gate that we had, a ton of rumors and hoopla, yada, yada, yada. But he has been visiting patients at East Tennessee Children's Hospital as a part of his reinstatement, and he is now in good enough standing to be a part of the team once again. And we'll talk about what does it say that Boo is back in the mix. Well, look, I feel like this is now starting to come down a little bit. And Boo Carter has come to grips with, I've got to get back to football. It's August. We're playing a game here on August 31st. I've got to get back to business. I've got to get back to doing what I need to do to make it to the next level. And that next level is the NFL. This kind of crap where, we're missing team activities and not showing up and not being a part of the team, that's not going to fly. NFL owners, NFL coaches, they're not going to want that. You've got to do your job and play your role. And that is one of the most impactful players on this roster. A guy that's going to be really strong defensively, a guy that is involved special teams-wise, a guy that's going to have to step up offensively because of all the battered and bruised wide receivers that you have and the lack of depth there. So what this tells me is that Boo has gone through the process of getting back with the team. He's got back in good standing with the coaches, back in good standing to somewhat with the players. And now he is back in practice and back participating. And I don't expect this to be an issue once again this season. Now, if we have to cross this bridge again, then we probably won't be mentioning Boo Carter's name on the field again. But what this is telling me is that it seems everything has been evened out. It seems that he has done his at least early process of getting back into the practice ring. We'll have to see what it looks like in terms of the playing field, but at least being back in the practice facility, it looks like he's done his job, which is a good sign. Max, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it for lack of a better term, it's kind of like rehabilitation, if you will. There's certain boxes you got to check. There's certain things you got to do. It sounds like he's been up to the task, and I give him credit. It takes a mature and individual and grown up to say, okay, I screwed up. I'm going to live with the consequences. You see a lot of guys in college, I feel like, run from that as opposed to meet it head on. That was really the only choice it felt like he had if he wanted to be a part of Tennessee. So I'm glad to see him taking it head on and not, trying to get out of it or being confrontational about it. He's getting a dose of his own medicine. He's doing what he's needed to do, which is a good thing. And obviously he's an important part of this roster. So you want things to go smooth. You don't want you want this guy to be a part of your team come week 1 in Atlanta. And he's doing everything that's been asked of him to be there and be suited up to contribute against Syracuse.
I think with Boo, the best thing that he needed, honestly, was kind of like this reset to get him back in that football mindset. It seemed like, obviously, when he wasn't with the team, football wasn't his main priority. When you're a high recruit and you come to a school such as Tennessee that is known for their football, you're here to play football, to go to school, of course, but it seemed like, football kind of took a back seat in whatever was going on in his life. So I'm happy that he had this reset. I'm happy that, he's back on the field and practicing, because he is going to be such a crucial part to this year's team and maybe for next year as well. Not looking that far into the future, but all that matters is now. The fact that he's back, he looks good. He's full page with his teammates. Once again, weird rumors that were circulating that the team was turning back on him. It seems like peace is restored, and that's all that really you can ask for.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you make of the situation?
It's definitely good for team morale. I mean, definitely having one of your top dogs back out on the field with you, going through the grind, can do nothing but help the morale of the team. You hope that whatever issues that they had has been put behind them. Because they're going to need him. I mean, you're talking about possibly, I don't know how vocal he may be out on the field, but at least his presence out on the field would definitely be felt, especially with the timetable for McCoy returning is still uncertain for right now. So you're going to at least need his leadership, his possibly experience in the secondary to play a major part, especially early on in the season. And then, we've talked about what will his role look like offensively, even if he has a package or two, or he'll just come in like, a play here and a play there. So an uplifting of spirits, definitely for the team as you go through the grind of what is fall camp. Like I said, you want your dogs, you want your boys, you want your brothers out there with you. So you can start to see the growth together.
And I think the big thing about today is that it kind of feels like this little saga is now in the past, which I think is very important, because you cannot be going into a football season with lingering issues and lingering storylines, because that will carry on throughout the season. And when things start going bad, they will be brought back up, and it will be another concern, another issue. So it's very important that right now, about 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks away from Tennessee kicking things off in Atlanta, to get this nipped in the bud and move forward. And it seems like that has been done today. So it feels like to me this saga is over, which is very important.
For now.
Well, Tyler, what do you mean for now?
I was just joking.
Well,
you can never predict what these college football players do, especially with how NIL is now. It seems like it's all hashed out, but what's stopping another issue from arising this time next year?
Well, right now, and I don't have any intel on this specific prediction I'm about to give, I don't imagine Boo Carter will be with the team next year. I imagine he'll enter the portal and he'll be gone.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree there too.
And that's just coming from my opinion of this situation. Obviously, I come on here and I tell what I know. that's just a prediction on my end right there. I don't think he's going to be a part of the team next year. I think he'll most likely enter the portal, and I think it was more just so of a I want to play. I want to play.
He had no other options. It's either I'm playing football or I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm sitting.
So for now, I guess in that sense, sure. But I'm just more so focused on the season. I mean, it's not like he's going to get up and leave, knock on wood. But again, I think, he's here to play, and that's good. And the second thing I wanted to add to this, and the important thing why this saga is over is now you get him back in practice. You get him back working where he should be and would usually be. And now you can form that chemistry with the guys around you. Because when you're going into the season, it's very difficult to, you need to have chemistry with the guys around you and communication and different schemes and sets. And especially this is a guy that's going to be working offensively too. He's going to have an understanding, a firm grasp of the defense, and then be able to dip his toe in the offense because, memorizing 2 playbooks is difficult. Talk about just pages on pages, and every single page has different angles and different reads you have to make each time. It's difficult to learn both of them. And that's why I think like a guy like Travis Hunter is a little bit underappreciated sometimes. I mean, he played like 115 snaps in a game last year and have to know every offensive play that he's evolved in and also know all the defensive sets. Is Boot Carter ready to do that? I think right now is really important that he gets back in the system, visualizes where he is in these situations, visualizes with his teammates, communicates with his teammates about certain sets and where to go and what angles to take. I think that's a really important part of this as well. I feel like this saga is over, and I think it will be for Tennessee's betterment as we move forward, especially with Jeremiah McCoy still being out right now in the defensive secondary. At least you're adding a big piece back, and he'll get some repetition leading up to the season. Max, do you feel like this saga is at least over for this season?
Yeah, I hope so. And I think I don't disagree with Tyler when he says for now. I think especially the tension there, and we talk about how he really didn't have another option. Either was basically going to redshirt or play football, and then if he chose to redshirt, how does that look to prospective other programs? Because his time here would have been done. So I'm not saying that I think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows from now till the end of December, but I think one thing you brought up that's a good point is how much is he able to be worked into the offense? Is that something that now might be revoked a little bit because it's, hey, you're just fighting to be on this roster. You got to prove to us that you're a trustworthy teammate, etc. You're accountable, that you can be on this team. We made this promise of you playing offense, but then you kind of gave us the finger by, all the antics that he did this past month and change. I do wonder if a little bit of that says, okay, hey, your big dream of playing offense, let's get you focused on being sound defensively on that side of the ball, especially with the McCoy injury, before we start giving you, what you asked for, because you're not holding up your end of the bargain. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of that of, hey, that's kind of a luxury now. It's not a given.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you make of the offense and defensive side of the ball here, having to learn both of those?
That's, you alluded to that. That's a tough thing. Especially depending upon how much of the offense he will be integrated in with. You talking about learning different route combinations, different sets, of course, but then knowing if there's a checkoff, depending upon what coverage that you may see. So there's a litany of things that he would have to remember and digest and make sure that that he's keen on. Because even outside of just route running and stuff like that, even blocking assignments, depending upon where he may be aligned at. So there's too many things that he would have to get adapted with and be on the same page with, as far as definitely the QB. And then defensively, yes, you have to be on the same page, especially in the secondary. Because if you're not remembering that the cornerback is bailing to blitz, so now you're having to cover over top for him, basically in the cover 3 look. You have to be on par with that, or if this linebacker is now running to the flats to cover something, so now you're dropping down playing sort of a robber role. You have to know that.
There's a lot to understand, and that's why it's important that this is now kind of put in the rear view mirror. But is this enough time? I mean, obviously he knows the defensive side from last year, and you've got the same coordinator. Obviously, you're going to implement some new things each season, but kind of relearning that and finding that chemistry with the teammates around you.
Because you definitely got new pieces that's definitely in place. So it just it's all about just being out there with the guys. You got to be out there with the guys so you can actually see, this person's strength, this other person's weaknesses, and this is how we learn to. Okay, well, maybe when we get this type of look, we would like to have this set, but because such and such may not be good covering the hook to curl area, maybe we need to change this up. And so it's things like that from a player, from a coach coordinator perspective, that you want to see and start ironing out a bunch of those wrinkles during camp, because that's what camp is for.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's huge that he's back out there with the boys. And as far as the saga go, it sounds like grown folks have now entered the room. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, at least for the most part, people are able to say, hey, at least for right now, we got a job to do. We're going to do it. Whatever may spill over after the season, that'll work itself out then. But as for right now, we're here in the moment.
Tyler, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, as for is the saga over question, I stand by what he said for now. I mean, it does seem like Boo was unhappy here. I mean, I'm sure a part of him still doesn't fully want to be here, but he made a commitment. If you want to go play somewhere else, you're going to have to show that you can honor that commitment. So I feel like this season's going to be a big one for Boo, because if he wants to be here, then he's going to play like he has to. If he doesn't want to be here, I feel like you'll see that in his style of play. As for the learning the new playbooks, the offense, defense side of things, I mean, a couple months ago, I thought Boo was going to have a pretty big optimal role with this offense, and by that I expect him to be in a lot of third down sets, just a motion too, and even if it's a run play, you still motion over Boo Carter. Those are things that he can pick up quickly. Mm-hmm. However, in a whole scheme to where you're going to have certain routes where you're the number one, read there, I feel like you're going to see those kind of get dialed back a little bit. Not that we've seen them already happen in the regular season, because we haven't. Boo didn't play offense last year, but my hope was that he was going to be a guy that would have plays that were meant to put the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. Now you come to camp a couple weeks later, you're on the sidelines for a week. You weren't present for 2.5 weeks. That's almost a month that you're missing, where you could have been learning an offensive playbook that you're not familiar with at all. Yeah. Defense, I feel a little bit more confident about, because obviously Boo is a natural safety. He's a natural defensive back. You could tell by his movement, his fluidity. And playbook-wise, not a lot is going to change from last year to this year. If anything, I don't think anything will change. So defensively, as a return man, that's going to be Boo's main role. However, I feel like we're going to see his volume as an offensive weapon go down a little bit than what most of us were expecting to. Yeah. Now, with that being said, could it ramp up towards week 6? Sure. But I feel like it all depends on, where these other receivers are at, where the offense is at, how the chemistry is looking like with whoever QB1 is. I mean, if Boo's chemistry is looking better with Mark than it is with Joey, then that might have an impact on who finishes the season as our starting quarterback. So a lot of moving parts for Boo. All you can do right now is just be a sponge and learn as much as you can. This kid is ultra talented. There's no beating around the bush with that. We know what his talent is. We know his skill set. For Boo right now, it's just getting back to your tip-top shape and learning how this team, not you, how this team is going to operate, work, and be in unison. And I think for Boo, that's the most important thing right now.
Yeah. Well, Sparks is also reporting that Tennessee is dealing with numerous injuries at wide receiver. Mike Matthews practiced over the weekend, missed practice, I should say, over the weekend, but returned today with a brace on his knee. Braylon Staley was sidelined today, and he's been a full participant up until this morning. And then Chris Brazzell has been sidelined throughout. So now, your top 3 wide receivers, your starting 3 wide receivers have all been hurt or injured. I guess that's the same thing. Have all been injured.
There's a difference.
Yeah. Well, I guess, hurt or injured during training camp so far. And the wide receiver room is very thin. We've talked about this a ton. Rodarius Jackson and Travis Smith Jr., Joakim Dotson, those guys are going to have to step up as freshmen because your 3 guys right now that are supposed to be your starters are all missing time. And I am worried about the receivers missing this time right now in training camp because you're trying to work with a new quarterback. Jake Merklinger, Joey Aguilar, these guys are trying to get reps with this new starting receiving core. And you're not very deep, so you've got to hit on all cylinders with these 3 guys because if they go down, you're going to be in trouble. You don't have the depth. So I think it's really important that these guys are missing because none of them have practiced all together. There's not been one practice so far in camp where Matthews, Staley, and Brazel are all available. That's a problem. We talk about chemistry on the defensive side of the ball, communicating with your secondary and other defensive backs. At wide receiver, you're communicating with your quarterback. You're communicating with your offensive line. You're communicating with the coaches on the sideline. You're trying to make sure you're running the right routes. It's hard to do that when your top 3 guys have yet to practice together. Chris Brazel, we don't know much about. It's kind of just a question mark injury, and they're not being very vocal about it. We don't know much about it. Matthews returned today, which is good, but he's got a brace on his leg. And then Staley missed today, and that's a problem too. A couple of off seasons ago, there were a lot of guys that missed practice, and I would talk with a couple of people, and they would say, they're a little bit over precautionary. They don't want guys to get hurt, and I get it. If that's the reason, I could somewhere get it because you've got a very thin room, but you're working with a totally different quarterback situation. You haven't had a quarterback competition like this, really since Josh Heupel arrived at Tennessee. So now you're trying to figure out the dynamic of wide receiver and quarterback connection in addition to trying to figure out who your quarterback's going to be. I would want to run my best guys out there to see which quarterback is able to deliver the best ball because sometimes the receivers make mistakes. They'll drop it. They don't have, the right angles and it'll throw the quarterback off. I want my 3 best guys helping out this quarterback competition. So I'm worried about it. I think it's a big concern. I imagine all these guys will be available. I don't know what the hell Chris Brazel is doing or what is wrong with him. I'd love to know more information on that. But I think it's a big concern right now, especially as you're trying to figure out your quarterback. Max, what do you make of it?
Yeah, I think a key thing for me on this, none of these guys are talented enough to just say, okay, roll the ball out there in Atlanta. I haven't been on the field. I'm good enough to just go out there and beat the guy across from me. None of these guys are good enough, and we don't have a quarterback, at least we don't think we do, that can say, okay, he's, he doesn't know this guy. They haven't played together, but he's going to find a way to get him the ball because he's that talented. He's that, savvy, whatever it may be. So I think it's important. It's still early. I'm not going to try and overstate the importance of it, but I think you want to see these guys play together. First off, that's your first team offense. You want to be able to get practice reps in, install, etc., with your first team offense. You don't want to get out there in Syracuse against Syracuse and the quarterback looks across down the line and says, man, have we ran this with all 3 of these guys in the field before? No, you don't want that. It's still early. I'm not going to panic about it, but these guys aren't good enough to be missing, to just expect to show up in Atlanta and all of a sudden, catch every ball thrown their way, run past the guy across from them, run the right routes, etc. They need to get these reps in sooner rather than later.
Jeremy?
Yeah, no, this is definitely kind of huge. Y'all hit on all the good points. Your top 3 receivers, you definitely want to be in camp right now, building that time and getting that rapport, especially with your quarterback. I will kind of take the conversation just a little bit different. With this, depending upon how much time they can actually get in camp, start trying to build that rapport. For me, if I was the one kind of making the decision, depending upon how one looked over the other, my favorite would actually be Jake.
Okay.
Because once again, I go to the fact that he's been here over 2 years now. He's been in this offense. with Josh, and he should have a grasp on what to do. So even if you don't have this time that you are the time necessary with your receivers, by game time, if they're not all the way ready, hopefully he can direct them to getting them into the correct spots, making sure that if what he's seeing as far as the defensive coverage, he's making sure that they're seeing also. So they do know, like, all right, you were supposed to run this 10-yard out here, but now we coming back to this 5-yard curl because they're sitting back at 8-9 yards. Like, it's things like that if he truthfully does have a grasp of this offense and he's understanding what to do, he has to, for me, be the favorite going forward, because them missing time, I mean, it is huge. I mean, because you don't have that history already together. And then, like Max hit on, you necessarily don't have that top end talent to where you can just say, it don't necessarily matter. You just throw the ball in my vicinity. I'm going to go get it. I'm going to the crib 60, 70 yards.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just hope and pray for UT fans that they can get out there. I mean, because this is the time that you need. This now is the time.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, you do have a little bit of silver lining in having Syracuse and then ETSU as the first two games.
Yeah. Good opportunity to kind of work through the kinks.
Yep.
When we come back on the other side, we'll talk about dark horse contenders in college football. Plenty of teams were not ranked yesterday in the top 25 coaches poll. And every year in the college football playoff, at least in the 12-team format, we have seen teams go from unranked to in the college football playoff. Arizona State, SMU, two examples of that last year. Which team could do that this year? Which unranked team could possibly make the playoff? We'll break it down when we return right here on Overtime.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance, and we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court-martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Knoxville, mark your calendars. Fan Run Night at the ballpark is back. Join us Wednesday, August 6th at Covenant Health Park as the Knoxville Smokies take on Biloxi and we take over the stands. It's all you can eat night, so make sure to bring your appetite. Plus, we're hooking up the fans with exclusive Fan Run swag giveaways you won't want to miss. Come hang with the Fan Run crew, rep your team, and enjoy a summer night of baseball, food, and fun. Fan Run Night, August 6th. Be there.
Ready to launch your career? Axel Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axel proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axel, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axel Logistics is the place to start your career.
Presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me. I'm out for presidents to represent me.
All right, back here on Overtime on a Tuesday. We appreciate you hanging out with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube/Facebook live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. All right, we'll stay on the topic of college football and now move over to the national level. And though we usually have a good idea of which teams will be playing in the national championship or be national championship contenders, the expansion of the college football playoff to 12 teams has made it easier for unpredictable sleepers to make a run into the bracket. Arizona State, Indiana, and SMU joined top Group of 5 conference champion Boise State in leaping from unranked in the preseason poll to the playoff last year. And with the coaches poll coming out yesterday, giving us the first glimpse of how the teams stack up heading into the new year, we will use that poll to see who could be that sleeper this season, who could be that unranked team that climbs all the way to the college football playoff. And we'll begin with Max here. Max, who's the team that you believe could be that sleeper in CFB?
Yeah, well, for those that listened yesterday, that, me and Tyler each gave a team that we thought was too high and too low in the coaches poll. And the team that I gave was not even ranked. And they're going to be my answer for this as well, and it's the Louisville Cardinals. Now, Jeff Brom, I mentioned on the show yesterday, he has, I believe, 19 wins there in 2 years. He had a 10-win season and a 9-win season. Been really good. And if you go back and look what he did at Purdue, a program that we've seen fall into disrepair since he left, was nothing when he took it over. This guy's a really good, and I think one of the more underrated coaches in our sport. He gets in Miller Moss, and I'm a fan of Miller Moss. Do I think he's necessarily a top 5 quarterback or anything like that in college football? No. But in the ACC, I think he's in one of the top third of the quarterbacks in that conference. I think he showed flashes at USC. Yeah, he had some bad games. A lot of their losses were not on him, though. That was a bad football team with a porous defense. You get him into a system with Jeff Brom in an easier conference where he's taken back-to-back years. He's brought in transfer quarterbacks and had successful seasons with them. I don't see why Miller Moss would be any different or the exception to the rule there. So I really like him. You look at the schedule, too. It shapes up. We look at a team like last year. Clemson got in because the ACC was down. SMU got in because the ACC was down. The ACC will send 2 teams this year. I'm pretty confident in that. I like Clemson. They get Clemson at home. I think that's a game we've seen Louisville pick off teams at home at their stadium as well. I think that's a winnable game. I'm not saying they beat Clemson, but it's not. They get them at home. That's certainly, if you're going to play them, you'd rather them be in your own confines. Outside of that, it's really 2 difficult games outside of that. You go at Miami, at SMU. Can they win one of those games on the road? Can they beat SMU? I like them better than I like SMU, frankly.
Yeah.
They win that game, you have a real decent chance to be 10-2, and a 10-2 ACC team that's playing in Charlotte, I think, is ticketed to the college football playoff, especially in this year where I think there's going to be a lot more 9-3 teams than what we had last season. So for me, the schedule is very beneficial. I mean, you go at Pitt, that's a game they should be favored in. You miss some of the better teams in the conference. You get Clemson at home. If you win that Clemson game, you can afford another mulligan elsewhere. I just think they're not getting the respect. Jeff Brom's not getting the respect for what he's done there in back-to-back years with 2 different transfer quarterbacks. Now he's got a third in Miller Moss, a guy that was high on draft boards for parts of last season. I don't think he's as bad as what we saw in November. He might not be as good as what we saw in September, but he's somewhere in the middle there, which in the ACC, with that talent around him, with that schedule, can win 9-10 games. I think Louisville is my pick as a dark horse team to make it all the way to the 12-team field.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick at all. I think Louisville has been very competitive over the last couple of seasons. I thought last year they very well could have picked up enough steam to make a college football playoff or make the ACC championship game and then make it into the CFB. I liked Tyler Shaw a lot last year, even though he's old as dirt. And Tyler really loves him as a top 15 level quarterback in the NFL.
Never living that down.
Yeah. But even
Tyler Shaw, yeah.
But even guys like Ashton Gietti or last year on the defensive line, Ja'Cory Brooks was a strong receiver for them. I think Louisville has done a good job. I'm not as high on Miller Moss as you are. I thought he had a lot of hype last year and severely disappointed in what I think is a better offensive system at USC. Now, do they recruit to the level that they should and produce to the level they should? Maybe not, but I do think Miller Moss kind of disappointed last season and kind of had a hissy fit in his departure. But I do think he's a good quarterback.
Oh, was Tyler Shook a very good quarterback before he got there? Not really.
And I could get around that. But also I guess Moss is an experienced guy too in terms of age. But, Shook I thought Shook was good at Texas Tech. Like Miller Moss.
But no one saw that move and said, man, this is a top 15 team because they got Tyler Shook or top 20.
I can get around that. So I'm not disagreeing with your Louisville take. I think Louisville is definitely going to be in contention in the ACC. And if you've got to try to find a way to go from unranked to make the CFP by way of making the ACC championship game and having if it's up against Clemson, probably a 70-30 or 30-70 shot and beating them. But still, you're in that game and have an opportunity to make a couple of plays. So I do like that pick. Tyler, who is your dark horse team from unranked to the college football playoff this upcoming season?
I feel like I'm going to catch a lot of flames for this, but that's what a hot take is. I think USC is going to be better than some people expect them to be. And that's the Trojans, not the Gamecocks.
Okay.
Yeah, the USC's in California and Carolina's in Chapel Hill. That is the answer to that question to South Carolina fans.
I'm saying this for 2 reasons. 3 reasons, actually. The first one, they were my rebuild team last year in college football. So I kind of have an obligation. Game? Yeah, so I kind of have an obligation to support them a little bit. Secondly, I really like their wide receiving core. I think they have a bunch of playmakers, Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon. I think those guys are going to be one of the top receiving duos in college football next year. You bring in Jordan Mailata, who ended up being the starter, and Miller Moss obviously isn't there anymore. But I think Mailata, he'll have a better year than he had last year. He wasn't very efficient last year, and he was honestly quite underwhelming. You think he had like a 12-6 touchdown to interception ratio, but this is a USC team that they have a lot of transfers, especially on that offensive line. Left guard and center, they're both transfers. Their offensive line is a major question, in my opinion. However, I do really like their skill position players. Their running back room is very nice. I like the Eli Sanders addition from, I believe, New Mexico. I want to say
defense doesn't concern you?
Well, I was getting to that,
okay.
Max. The defense definitely does concern me. With that being said, they got, I want to say, 6 transfers that you could see, getting every game reps there. Wasn't the greatest recruiting class by all means, but I do think this offense has enough firepower to, win some big games that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to win. I mean, you start off against, I think this is Montana State, I want to say. Yeah, no, the Missouri State Bears. You start off with them, Georgia Southern. You go to Purdue, and I don't think Purdue is going to be a good team by any means this year. I think that's a pretty easy 3-0 start. Your season really starts when you host Michigan State, but I don't expect Michigan State to be anything that special either. This could be a team that could be 4-0, working their way into the top 25, where they go to face Illinois in week 5. Now, Illinois is a very stout team. They're a team that a lot of people are underlooking. However, they're a top 15 ranked team right now. If USC can go in, right, I think I saw them on the coaches poll ranked 12. If this USC team, impresses a lot of people in their offenses, the firepower that I honestly expect them to be, this could be a team that can go into Illinois, pick up a ranked win, then before you know it, they're in the top 25 and they're 5-0, especially with how their season starts with Purdue on the road week 3, which should be a win for them, and Michigan State at home. If this team starts off 4-0, goes into Champaign, I think, right? Champaign. I'm thinking of Julian Champaign, the basketball player for the Wizards. Champaign, if you go in there,
I'm sorry, Tyler. Go ahead.
Sorry. You go in there 5-0, and then the rest of the season, that's obviously where it gets tough. You host Michigan week 6, and then you got to go to Notre Dame. But I think this is a team that could start off 5-0, and if they do, you play Northwestern at home. You play UCLA at home the final week of the regular season. This could be like a minimum 7-win team with the upside with maybe 9 wins, depending on how good this defense is. But I think their offense is really going to be fun to watch. I really like this wide receiving core. I like their running back room. This is a team that, I don't think has been getting any talk about, and I guess for some right reasons, because people don't think they are going to be as good. But I think in the Big Ten, you need a high-octane offense, especially if you don't have a good defense by any means. And I think this USC team is going to be able to keep up with a lot of really, really good teams in the Big Ten this year.
Jeremy?
I'm going to go with a team that I don't think nobody has ever considered, but me watching this team the last couple of years, like, I just love the way that they play. They always play hard-nosed. They play incredibly physical, and it just seems like they just always just get the bad flip of the coin. I'm going to go with the Utah Utes to actually make some noise a little bit more this year. I think last year you had Cam Rising, who went down kind of early in the season at QB for them, but so I'll look for him to come back strong. I mean, they have good runners with Michael Bernard, as well as Mike Mitchell, both of them combining to run for over 1,300 yards. But their defense is, just like I said, their defense has always impressed me over these last couple of years, and they return a lot of experience on that defense. Between Barton, T. Johnson, Snowden, and Fillinger, you're talking about returning at least, I believe, 2 seniors and possibly 2 juniors, with more juniors that should be coming back this year. You're talking about Logan Fano at defensive end for them, as well as R. Evans and Tafuna at defensive tackle. So Tafuna actually got drafted. So, but this team, they've always played everybody tough. I mean, they played the USC's tough. They've played Oregon tough. So I expect them to make that jump, because I think if an SMU can make the college football playoff, I believe it just with the correct bounce of the ball, I believe Utah has a shot at making it. And I don't think you will see them end up having a piss poor performance like a SMU against a Penn State. I mean, I believe if you put Utah in that position, it's not such a runaway and such a a diabolical mess that game ended up being. So I'm going to go with Utah.
Yeah, look, I think Utah with Whittingham in his final couple of seasons. Is this his last season? I know they've already got his replacement in position. I don't know if this is going to be his final season or not.
I believe he wants to finish out his contract, which I'm not sure if it's this year or next year.
Okay. And look, Utah under Whittingham has been good, and you've always got to trust that they're going to be in position at least somewhat to be competitive in their conference. I think the Big 12 has a lot of different options this season, though, and it's going to be very competitive. I think, teams like Arizona State are the best, but, I look at Kansas State, Iowa State, Texas Tech. There are a lot of good teams, Baylor as well. How does Utah separate themselves, I think, is what the big question to ask is. But, you've got to back the track record of Whittingham. So I think that's a solid pick. My selection here is not going to be a Power 4 team. Mine is UNLV. I think UNLV will win the Mountain West this season. And the reason why I'm backing this team is Dan Mullen, who I think is a really, really strong offensive-minded coach, and the scheme that he will put in place for the Running Rebels. This is the second best roster, I believe, in the Mountain West. I think Boise State still has a couple of really intriguing pieces from last year's group. But I'm backing UNLV here because this is a group of 5 bid. UNLV might not be, straight up the best odds to make the college football playoff, but if you're going to back the highest ranked team in the group of 5 that wins their conference, I think it's UNLV. Alex Orji comes over from Michigan at quarterback. William, he wasn't that good. Well, last year when you watched UNLV, what was their biggest strength at quarterback? Guys that could run the ball, whether it was Matthew Sluka or Malik Willis. Those guys that could run the ball had success in the offense. And then the other thing I like about this UNLV team, it's kind of the box of misfit toys. It could be very boom or bust. You got guys like Denver Harris, a former 5-star recruit at a high school years ago that bounced around from LSU to Texas A&M to UTSA, now at UNLV. It's kind of almost like Last Chance U. It could blow up in flames, but you've got talented guys on this team. I mean, like a Justin Flo, who was a highly recruited guy that went to Oregon and then transferred to Arizona. This is a talented roster in terms of what you had coming out of high school and how they were graded. I just think now you've got to be put into a situation. Can you have success within your own conference? And can you win the Mountain West Championship? UNLV and Boise State have been back and forth over the last couple of years. I believe UNLV will have a shot. I don't love how they have to go on the road and play Boise State in the regular season, but if they have one loss and that's to Boise State, and then you can go, win the Mountain West Championship, you're most likely the Group of 5 team. So I'm going UNLV here. I really liked them last year, especially with Matthew Sluka. I felt like they got the short end of the stick there. Even though Malik Willis did well, they took a little bit of a step back, especially with Sluka's ability just to extend plays and make big-time plays. I mean, that Kansas game last year was a really, really impressive feat. And then NIL came into the world for him, and he obviously, decided to leave. But I'm just backing the talent on this roster through the portal, and I'm backing Dan Mullen, who has always been one of my favorite coaches in college football. A little bit of a different type answer. If I had to give a Power 4 team, I'd say Nebraska. Because
I don't hate that. I think this is the year for Nebraska to maybe not make the playoff, but take that step to top 20-ish team.
Well, I think that's solid. I think that's solid as well.
When you look at Matt Rule, year 3 has always been the year he's blown up. At Temple, he was a 10-win team. At Baylor, he was a 10-win team in year 3. Now, obviously, he didn't get there.
Yeah, it was better.
But
leave that alone.
But I love Matt Rule, and I think Dylan Raiola is still really strong. I think they need to be a little bit better offensively, more consistent. But I do like pieces they have defensively, and that is a tough home field environment when they're good. So if I had a Power 4 team, it'd be Nebraska. But my Power 5 pick, just be a little bit different here, UNLV. I do like what you get on the roster and also with Dan Mullen. So those are our sleeper teams, our dark horse teams to possibly make the college football playoff, go from unranked to the big dance. Good analysis all the way around. When we come back, we'll switch over to the NFL and talk about a former star in college football and Shedeur Sanders getting his opportunity for the Browns. Will it be the make-or-break opportunity for his NFL career? We'll break it down on the other side. Stay right here. It's Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires. Just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'spro-knoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
All right, back here on Overtime, wrapping things up on this Tyler Tuesday. We'll switch over to the NFL as Shedeur Sanders is going to get his opportunity, possible perfect timing for his career. The latest twist in the Cleveland Browns quarterback competition will lead to rookie Shedeur Sanders starting Friday night in the preseason opener at Carolina. With injuries in the room leading to detours, Joe Flacco obviously not going to start as a 45-year-old, however old he is. Needs to be sitting on the couch watching Netflix with his kids. I mean, come on. Kenny Pickett, small arm syndrome or something, I don't know, or little hand syndrome, I don't know. He's unavailable. But Sanders has had some soreness in his shoulder. He was not necessarily a full go, but now he will be named the starter. Tyler Huntley, a former Pro Bowler, shows you how weak that terminology is.
Him and Mitch both.
Yeah. It also got added today, but Sanders will be the starter, and I think this could possibly, at least for the time being, be his make-or-break opportunity. You've got to look strong, at least in the preseason, because this is kind of this buys you time if he performs well Friday night. I get it, it's preseason, but when you look at this Cleveland room, there are 5 guys in there now. You've got to separate yourself from the rest, and with these guys injured, this is your opportunity. They're giving you the chance to show what you can do because the other guys are not there to do it. So if you perform well, showcase what you could do, then you might start moving up the depth chart. Everyone's been sharing the quarterback 4 on the depth chart for Shedeur Sanders. Very funny. But this is his chance to not only move up, but then also have an opportunity at some point in the regular season. The Browns will play one of Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders at some point this season because they're not going to roll with Flacco the whole year. Kenny Pickett will flame out. And then you're going to have to, see what you have in these rookies. Sanders has to play well on Friday to buy himself some time and have an opportunity to play in the season. What do you make of it, Max?
We actually covered this last night. Me and Tyler talked about the different quarterback battles, and my thoughts on Sanders were, me and Tyler, I guess, would have had a little bit of conflicting thoughts. I felt that he's not going to play this year. I think this is a good opportunity for him to get some reps in. Hey, you take him or you can get him. He'd have to wow. I'm sure we're going to see some clip on the internet of one throw he made, whether it's great or terrible, that then's going to be used for, the next week and a half, 2 weeks. But my thoughts are Gabriel to me is the guy that if the veteran, that whoever's the starter, whether it's Pickett or Flacco, Gabriel is the guy who they say, okay, we're turning the reins over to you for the final 5 weeks of the season. I think Sanders, they view him more as a long-term guy and more of a project. Say, hey, this is a redshirt year for you. You're going to sit. You're not going to be active on game days. You're just going to sit behind these guys. And then this is what Tyler brought up, if they're bad next year and they draft a quarterback, Gabriel's the guy who's on the chopping block if he doesn't play well those 6 games. I think Sanders is there next year. One of those guys won't be. That's why I think they kind of throw Gabriel to the Wolves more. He also has way more college experience under his belt and say, hey, you got the month of December. Maybe you show something. We don't draft a guy. Maybe you don't. Then you're probably out of here. Kind of like a Sam Howell situation with Washington. I think Sanders is strictly in case of emergency, which is kind of this situation because of all the injuries.
Yeah, actually, a good point there. I like that. Jeremy, what do you make of it? Oh, Tyler, what do you make of it?
My thing is Shedeur definitely does seem like a more long-term project, like what Max says, and I can agree with him on that. However, when it's all said and done, if you view Shedeur as a long-term project, you expect him to be a starting quarterback at some point in his career for your team. My claim yesterday was that the Browns are probably going to have one, if not two, top 10 picks, depending on how the Jags play out. But you're going to have a lot of first-round draft capital. You can essentially get any quarterback you want in the draft next year if you just package, like, let's say, the 4th pick and the 15th pick or wherever the Jags end up. You could probably move up into that top 2, maybe even top 1. You can get whatever quarterback you want. If they see a guy, and then, I mean, I don't really know, like, this time next year or come the NFL draft who's going to be that, like, 101 selection. Cleveland has to make up their mind because you don't want your backup quarterback being a player that has very little NFL experience. Backup quarterbacks are the veterans, those who have started in needs when, like, injuries go down, like a Cooper Rush, like I'm blanking on backup quarterbacks right now, but, like, these are guys that have been in the NFL for a long time. They've had multiple games where they started over a certain period of time or something like that. Shedeur Sanders, he's not going to be that backup quarterback if the Browns do go out and draft a player high. But with that being said, this is definitely not a make or break moment for Shedeur, but he has to show him something because right now he's slotted in as their QB4 on the depth chart, and that isn't even with the addition of Tyler Huntley. So now I guess he's QB5 on the depth chart. So you got to show something. You have to prove why you're better than Dylan Gabriel, because he'll also play in the second half of their preseason opener. So it's a make or break moment for Shedeur, and I honestly think that this year is the big year for him.
Yeah, most definitely could be. Jeremy, anything to add?
Yeah, you just have to ask, where the hell do the Browns think they're going? I mean, you just seriously have to ask that because this makes no sense. I mean, you all just talking. I'm just learning that Tyler Huntley got added to the roster.
Yeah,
this makes no sense to add
quarterback carousel.
Yeah, within 1 year. I mean, this makes no sense. I mean, so if Flacco's going to be your starter, that's great. You see how the season goes with Flacco. If it's going good, you keep the train rolling. If the team is falling off and Flacco isn't playing well, then that's when you need to bring in one of your young QBs to see what you actually have. I'm just so conflicted because this makes no sense to me as to what moves that they are making to try, because you're doing everything not to solidify your future. I mean, this is borderline insanity. What we're witnessing right now. I mean, this is just crazy. I mean, the different views that Max and Tyler have on the situation, I can't say that I agree nor disagree with. I mean, because this situation is just so crazy. I mean, why would you want to put Shedeur on ice till next year to see what he has if your team is failing this year? Wouldn't you not want to see what you would look like going into?
Because he got drafted in the 5th round and Gabriel got drafted in the 3rd round. So that tells you what they think of those two guys.
That tells you what they think, but I mean,
and one's 22 and one's 24. So
I mean, but then if you listen to all these reports, which I try not to listen to, about the two in camp, Shedeur seems like he's the one ahead. Now, if you want to go off of camp stats, I wouldn't. But Shedeur is the one that's thrown for more yards. He's thrown for more touchdowns and stuff. So I mean, I don't know what to necessarily look at. That's another story for another day.
Yeah,
but it's just weird, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to watch the debut of Shedeur Sanders on Friday. I'm sure that will be one of the more watched preseason games in a while. And I bet a lot of hate watchers will be out there as well. Maybe not be for a good thing. As Tyler raises his hand, why do you want to hate watch a guy? Be positive, Tyler. It's Tyler Tuesday.
He's a quarterback in my division. Of course I'm going to hate watch him.
You don't have to worry about any Browns quarterback.
I was about to say, yeah.
Then great. I don't even have to watch at all of it.
There you
awesome.
Go.
Save some time.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for a Tuesday edition of Overtime. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Join us on Thursday because tomorrow we'll be at Knoxville Smokies, Covenant Health Park for Fan Run Night. Join us there tomorrow. We'll see you on Thursday.